Welcome to week 7. We're getting very close to the end. You should all feel very good. Your surveys are out. It's time to get caught up on some of the writing or review of literature or your methodology sections that you haven't completed. I don't know how to emphasize enough, but if those 3 chapters are completed prior to the deadline of your survey, it is so much more relaxing to just deal with the findings and recommendations than still having to go back and look at the review of literature or the methodology. So I highly encourage you to do that. Continue working on chapter 1, 2, and 3, adding to your journals. Read the section 4, part 4 in your book, Interpreting and Reporting Results, so that'll help you get prepared for when the results are due. This Saturday at midnight, I asked that you construct some data tables, and data tables are designed to get you in the thought process. It's a pre-analyzing of data before it even comes in, based off of the question. So you may, for example, I wrote here, does age have, do you think it has some kind of relationship to computer knowledge? So maybe elderly people don't have as much computer knowledge. Is there some kind of correlation there? Or relationship, I should say. Is there a relationship between men and women and the amount of hours they shop? May or may not be. So what I'd like you to do is just look at maybe 3 or 4 sets of questions. It could be age that you relate to several different things. It could be gender, or it could be another question that you relate to more than one thing. So the 2 questions don't have to be totally 2 different questions. If you look here, I've got a place that says, if you, for examples, please click here. And I'm sorry that it doesn't do anything. It does on the review, but the here is actually a link. And so if you click on the link there, this is going to take us to a Word file where I just created some, and actually you can use the format so that you don't have to worry about remembering how to make text go sideways. But what I've done here is I've just made data tables, and it really is as simple as this. Everyone tries to make it more difficult. But it really is just thinking about 2 questions that may be related some way and just putting them together in a table. As simple as this. Okay? Nothing's going to go here. Okay? So I thought here, question 2, I labeled it, what is your age? Question 11, what is your level of computer knowledge? Okay? It's hard to do this on Likert scale questions, so you got to find questions that were direct answered, multiple choice type of questions. And then, whoops, I'm not sure what happened to that one, maybe because I haven't enabled it. Okay, so there's my second table there. I have question 1, what is your gender? Question 8, how many hours per week do you shop? So if I think that there may be something there. So I may have 3, 4, if you have more, that's fine too. But it really is just the pre-analyzing it. So you have some idea and you started thinking about how these questions may be related to each other. What would generally go here at some point is if we run a pivot table where it'll actually what we call cross-tabulate these 2 questions to see if there's any connection. Do we have a correlation that as up here age increases, so does their knowledge, or is it a negative correlation? Is there a correlation with women, the more that shop more? This one won't have any kind of positive or negative correlation as far as a slope, but it could reflect men over women in shopping. May not. But you are just going to leave this blank. This would be an assignment if there was maybe 1 or 2 more tables here. I want you to simply do this. You can take this Word document and you can change these because it's already formatted. You can copy and paste if you need several more. And you're just going to submit this in the data table section where you've been submitting all your other assignments. Don't make it complicated. I get students all say, well, what am I supposed to put in this table? Nothing at this point because we haven't collected the data yet. So please keep it simple, but do put some thought into it. You're starting to do the pre-analyzing of the data. So that's the assignment that is due by midnight on Saturday. Shouldn't take you any time at all. Continue reviewing the 3 stats videos. I really want you to make sure that you understand those 3 stats videos. You'll have to review them again when your data comes in. To also make sure that you can get on the virtual lab, because that's where Minitab, and that's what these videos are showing you, how to clean your data up in Excel, and then how to transport that data into Minitab, where we can actually get some p-values and understand, is the p-value large enough or to mean that these two things, there's something going on. We might not know what, but there's something going on between these two data points. Google Plus, start playing with that. I know some of you have. I mean, play to the extent that you're the invitee or the inviter. Get a PowerPoint that just says test PowerPoint. Make sure that it can be viewed, that all of you can talk and all see each other and that it's working. And I'll be the only missing piece in that, because when it really happens, it'll be myself and your client in that. So your client's going to need to know Google Plus. Please, if your client starts getting all freaked out about that, or it's something they're not familiar with, not comfortable with, then I'll make a point to be somewhere close to them, either at the Medford Center or here at the Ashland. I need to be able to get places quick enough. And they can just sit with me at a computer and watch you guys present. Okay, so save that. Let's let them give a chance to do, but if right away you just get a negative impulse from them that they're not comfortable with that, why aren't you using something else, or any of their other reasons, just say, well, Donna's willing to meet with you where you did your interview or somewhere else, have the computer going, and you'll just be in the room with her. And you'll be presenting to them, and they'll be able to ask you questions. Be sure to sign up for time slots. I noticed some still haven't gotten time slots. That time slot needs to be available for all of you, and it needs to be available for your client. Obviously, those time slots are already available with all my other final exams. That's why I put them there. And then don't forget, at midnight on, most of you use the cutoff date of February 20th. At midnight on February 20th, you'll actually go in and deactivate your survey, and I'll show you how to do that. Another thing I still have not gotten from several of you is an invitation, and I'm not sure what's happening. If you're not putting my email address correctly, it is Lane, D as in Donna. There's many lanes on campus, so I don't know if they're getting the emails, but probably several groups still have not gotten that email to me that has a code that then allows me to go and share. So let me go into Qualtrics real quick here. Okay, so Qualtrics here's United Bike Institute, which is one of your classmates' projects. This is showing me it's active. So at midnight you want to deselect that. You know, it doesn't have to be right at midnight. Don't set your alarm clock. But by the next morning you want to probably shut that off. And that's how you do it. You just deselect that button. I put these stars here because these are my current projects that we're working on for this class. But as you see, I only have 4 of the 7. So what you do is, let me find a survey that I'm the author of, and it has to be the person who actually, okay, none of these are surveys I started. I got rid of those. There'll be another icon here that'll say collaborate, and you'll click on that collaborate, and you'll select not just viewing, but editing and disabling and all the different things. Make sure you give me full rights. And then what happens is I get an email with a code in it, and I put accept shared surveys. And so when I click on accept shared surveys, I enter that code that comes in the email. So I'm unable to get in to see these if I don't get that email. So I'm not sure why some are coming through. Maybe you didn't put my email correctly. Maybe it wasn't the person who originally created it. If it's not the person that originally created the survey, like you can see, these are all student surveys. I didn't create any of them, but I have access into the bike and the Anne Hathaway. I can do everything they can do with it, but the collaboration button, I don't have the authority to collaborate the survey with anyone else. So whoever, if you don't see a collaboration button over here on the side, you weren't the original person who started setting the survey up. So you can't be the one to collaborate to get me onto it. But it looks like we got some good results. 107 responses from the United Bicycle Institute. Anne Hathaway's up to 169. Let's see what's going on over here. Siskiyou Bellums is 98. Iron Horse 15. We're trying to figure out what's going on here. They had about 100 people respond, but they're not clicking, so I hope they're looking into that matter. And that's all I've seen so far. I know that one of the groups is making phone calls. They'll input the stuff, so they'll be a little bit behind. But I'm looking for the library ones. I don't have those here, so I'm not sure why the 2 library clients surveys aren't up. But this is not a popularity contest, who gets the most. The people here could If you got 15 or 169, that has no relevance on your grade. It's all about how you write this report up, how you analyze it, how you think about it. So 169 or 15, both of those could be, this could not be a good paper just because they have 169 responses if they don't put it together and analyze it correct. So please don't think this is going to have any relevance on your grade. With the small exception, which I've said before, if you have done something where maybe the Iron Horse has done something that their survey is kicking everyone out, and it was their responsibility to make sure, or the survey somehow was so defective, which we've checked most of them, but I've never had a case where the response rate had any impact on your grade. I've even had students that only had 2 responses. In fact, it's one of the best papers that I've ever seen, and it's an example that I think I've opened up to you. So you still go through the same process. It's not as much fun because you don't have lots of data to analyze through, but the process is the same. You still have Chapter 1, which is the introduction, Chapter 2, which is the lit review, and Chapter 3 is the methodology. You set them up all the same, not knowing what your response rate is going to be. Chapter 4, you put in all your findings, and then Chapter 5, you make recommendations. And if you get 2 respondents, your recommendation is either you got a bad mailing list, and that's a recommendation, they need to clean up their mailing list. Of course, we'll say it a little better than that. Or we hit the wrong target. They gave us a mailing list that wasn't even the right one for those students. Or it was so outdated that the students didn't find relevance in clicking on it, or whoever it is, the respondents. So again, I think we're doing great. Keep up the good work. Again, even though we're kind of in limbo because the survey's out, but that'll be all over on Friday. This is a perfect time for make some data tables, submit that. Shouldn't take you any time at all. And then really making sure you have chapters 1, 2, and 3. You know, gosh, take them to somebody that you know, that edits them well, whatever. But boy, if you could just say those are complete and set them aside, and maybe you have to go back and change something if you didn't, you know, to add the response rate to your methodology section. But pretty much done. And it really is a great place to be to get to play with the data. So anyway, I hope you take my advice. I hope you have a good week getting this done, and we'll have a lot of fun next week diving into the data. So take care. You're doing great.